So are you still focused on the commission model, or have you maybe built and made a shift to a fee-based service model? And what about fee-only models, right? It's all these things that we've been talking about for such a long time, and there's pros and cons for each of these, and people that are for it and people who are absolutely against it and say it will never work. Well, today I'm going to get into the evolution of fee structures in the world of financial planning, and we'll explore how far we've come, and also maybe share some insights with you that might just shift your mindset around this. And most importantly, at the end, where are we headed? And what do we think are going to happen? I think there's quite a few things I've found from the research I've done that is really mind-opening to me. So I trust that that would be the same for you. It's really a lot to do about a journey of transparency, communication, and obviously the transformative impact of technology. So let's do it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to another episode 23 of season 4, and we're on episode 226 this morning. How amazing. So nice to be here in my cold studio this morning. Hope you're doing well where you are. Thank you very much for joining us, and if you're watching the recording, a massive thank you to you as well. We're looking forward to some incredible segments this morning, and of course the main topic of this morning, talking about fee for advice and all the different models and sort of things that we need to consider. So it's going to be a big one today, and one that with a lot of information. So I hope I'm going to get through everything, but really excited. I'm joined this morning by Nikki McDonald from the FBI doing current affairs. Then we have the birthday girl Norma, who is talking about why we should celebrate our successes. So looking forward to that. And then we are launching a brand new segment this morning, and I'm going to introduce Kuku to you, and looking forward to that one. I've got a couple of quick announcements, and then the main topic of today. But also, that's not all. We're also giving away a book. So it's actually arrived this week. So I've got a couple of books. We gave one away last week, and Liana won that one. And this week we're giving away another one. So if you want to win, it's as simple as commenting #guide. So the ultimate retirement, the guide. So #guide, right? So let's do that. Okie dokie. So let me say a warm good morning to everybody so we can get into the show. We've got loads of people already here. So we've got Kuba saying good morning. And price is what you pay, value is what you get. Yes, and for me, value is the difference that something makes, right? So the bigger the difference, the bigger the value. So Terence, good morning, nice to see you. I even haven't, ek het nog nie tyd gehad vir koffie nie. Gary, good morning, nice to see you. Hope it's going well, and that load shedding will leave you alone for a little bit. Johan, goeiemorgen, hope it's going well. We've got Philip, good morning, nice to see you. Mr. Mark Weston-Ford, holding the fort down on the East Coast, good morning. Tinus, goeiemorgen, daar in Bloemfontein. Liana, as you can see, your book will be on its way shortly. And then Neil, good morning, nice to see you as well. Also looking forward to today's session. Craig, good morning, nice to see you. Ferdi, good morning, nice to see you as well. We've got Heloise, good morning, nice to see you. And Frank Agliotti, all these friendly faces, it's just amazing. Thank you so much. Barry, goeiemorgen, nice om jou te sien. Hoop het gaan lekker daar in Struisies. Francis, good morning. Also keeping the fort in the east, but the East Rand, so not the far east like Mr. Mark. Johan Peens, goeiemorgen. Ek is bly om te sien jy is hierso. Goeiemorgen, Shamaine. It was nice meeting you on Monday in person, in the flesh. So that was awesome. So good stuff. Then it's time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into this morning's show. As you can see, I am sort of like a bunny. I'm all over the place and busy this morning. So we're going to head off over to Nikki for the latest of what's happening in our beautiful profession.
Good morning, Francois, and good morning, everybody. So, if you've been following the news the last few weeks, you will see that we have at last reached the end of Steinhoff. This week, Steinhoff shareholders have voted to dissolve the company and delist it from the Johannesburg and Frankfurt stock exchanges. Around 99% of the shareholders that registered to attend the company's extraordinary general meeting in Amsterdam backed the debt-ridden retailer's proposal to delist on Wednesday. This meeting was poorly attended, with empty chairs facing four Steinhoff board members. There were few questions before the vote. The decision to delist was largely a foregone conclusion, given, oh, there goes my power, given that a Dutch court had already certified Steinhoff's plan to switch from a publicly listed company owned by shareholders to a delisted group under the control of its creditors. No date has been announced yet for it to stop trading publicly. And in other news, it seemed that Mr. Marcus Jooste also reached his end in litigating, and that the German courts looks like they are going to keep him responsible for what happened. So it took years, but here we are. Then, in what was very interesting that I found this week is two South African reports that was done about financial resilience and how the economy is impacting on consumers. Now, I think it is something that is very important in the world of financial planners is that essentially we are responsible for educating our clients and also the consumers out there that's maybe not your clients. And if you look at the statistics in these two reports, it becomes more and more and more important that more of our advisors assist FBI and other bodies in financial, not financial literacy, financial education, and consumer education. So, what does these reports say? The first one is the 2023 Old Mutual Savings and Investment Research Report. This is an annual report that tracks how South Africans deal with investments and savings in the economy as it is at this point in time. So, although employed South Africans continue to show resilience as they face the macro financial challenges, 45% are considerably financially stressed. 7 out of 10 are trying to cope with incomes that have not improved since 2020, and their confidence in the economy is being eroded. Now, this report reflects the views of just over 1,500 employed South Africans with personal monthly incomes ranging from about 8,000 Rand to about 100,000 Rand. And this is on the many everyday financial challenges they face. The study also explored what they are doing to cope, as well as their views on matters ranging from financial priorities to debt management. It is quite an extensive report, but I have just picked out a few highlights that will be interesting to our financial advisors and planners online. So, as I said, 70% of South Africans are not seeing any improvement in their income since 2020, and 45% remain considerably financially stressed. Consumers struggle to build saving buffers. 30% claiming to have savings that would last them for only 1 month or less. Then another issue is that 33% of home loan holders are struggling to meet their monthly repayments or falling behind on payments. Now, that is considerably up from last year. And the reason for that is obviously the interest rate increases over the last 18 months, which has really had a big impact on debt repayments. Then, an interesting comment that they made in this report is they asked people that they interviewed about the two-part retirement reform and how do they feel about it. And the response was actually mostly positive. So I know we are a bit stressed about it from a financial planning perspective and from people withdrawing, but people are actually really looking like they are positive about this from a consumer angle. So that's interesting to see. The appetite for crypto declined in 2023, although 56% are still likely to purchase crypto in the next year. And then what's also interesting is that the sandwich generation, so that is people that are supporting not only their children, but also their parents and other older dependents, increased from 39% in 2022 to 43% in 2023. And then they indicated as well that 15% of working South Africans are single mothers, 47% of whom do not receive maintenance support. They are one of the more financially stressed and indebted cohorts. So there is quite a bit of work for us to do. And then there was a further report from Debt Busters, who are debt counselors, and their second annual money stress tracker also looked at 35,000 respondents to see how they feel about debt and resilience and those type of things. And their report actually links in very nicely to the Old Mutual one. Especially when it comes to women, that say 4 out of 5 women suffer financial stress. Compared to 2022, both women and men are 10 to 15% more stressed about their finances, work life, home life, and health. And 4 out of 5 female respondents say they suffer financial stress. There are certain reasons for this. But women are often carrying more of the burden of the family care and responsibility, and they are likely to admit to feeling stressed more than men would. Social conditioning often stops men from admitting they need help, so it's easier for women to admit that. So so this is very interesting, and it's also interesting to see how these two reports dovetail into each other. I would suggest you go read it. I really think it is very interesting to see how your clients would actually feel about the economic situation at this point. And then everybody, please stay warm this weekend. I see we've got another cold front coming to our way over the weekend. And back to you in the studio, Francois.
Gugu, warm good morning. How are you doing this morning?
Hello, Francois. I'm cold, but we soldier on.
Not the start you were hoping for, I guess. I'm so sorry for that. It's the first time. Yeah, it's the first time in 226 episodes, so I guess they were bound to happen. And but thank you very much. I'm really excited this morning to announce that Gugu will be joining us as a segment host, and today we're launching a new segment. So we're going to talk a little bit about what she's got planned, and then in a couple of weeks' time, the first segment will kick off. So first off, Gugu, warm welcome to the Propulsion Live family. It is amazing to have you here. I have, walked a little bit of a path with you since the beginning of the year, and by the end of it, I just thought to myself, like, geez, got to find a spot for you here because you've got a message, you've got a voice, and all of that. So, warm welcome and thanks for saying yes, I guess, is the big one.
Thank you for the invite, Francois. I must admit, again, the initial reaction was to say no, but I gave it a bit of thought, and I think it would be a great platform to have a conversation about a few interesting topics for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And on that note, Gugu, like, what are we planning? Like, what are you going to focus on in this segment, and sort of what can people expect from this segment?
Yeah, I think for the next couple of weeks, I would like to talk about, how we make human connections, and mostly, so it's not going to be a monologue, I promise, but I'd really like to have a conversation with a few people that I find interesting, people that I think are really great connectors, according to my perspective, people who really do well at connecting and bonding with people I've had a personal connection with over the years, and to see how they do it, what makes them tick, and what makes them really good at bonding with people. It's something that's preoccupied me for quite some time. Sometimes you walk away from a few client interactions and you think, that could have gone better. And often I get stumped about, how that could have gone better. And I'm always amazed at people who never really have to think about how they connect with people. They just do it, and they're really good at it, and they get people to do what they want them to do, which is incredible. And that's ultimately what we're all trying to do in this space. So that's I think we're going to have probably about 6 people that we're going to have a conversation with over the next few weeks.
Fantastic. I'm really excited for that. And they make it look so effortlessly, right? It's like, it feels sometimes like what are we missing? You know, it's so natural for them. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a very valuable conversation to have. It'll have the same format as all of the other segments, apart from that Google will be having conversations with these people and not just presenting during a session. So we're really looking forward to that. And there might even be a segment here or there where Google will be sharing her thoughts, by herself as well. So really looking forward to this, Gugu. And any glimpse on, I don't know, do you want to, can you share who your first guest will be, or is that going to be a big reveal closer to the time?
What I can tell you is that a couple of those people are going to be financial planners, but you're going to be quite surprised about the rest of the guests that we're going to have. It's people outside of our industry, people you would never think that we'd have on the show. But yeah, I think that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I like it. Gugu, so warm welcome to the family. We really appreciate you being here. Tremendously looking forward to what it is you're going to share. As I said to you before, you've got a phenomenal talent. And also, I think what makes this amazing is that you are in practice. You're living and breathing everything that we talk about. There's things that you do well, there's things that you struggle with, and bringing that to the segment, I think, is incredibly valuable as well. And that will just enrich the conversations you're going to have with your guests. So once again, thanks for saying yes. I was not as adamant this time around as I was with other things before. So this is out of choice. So thank you very much. And we're really looking forward to walking a path with you on the show.
Awesome. Thank you. And happy Friday.
Thank you very much. And connect with Gugu on LinkedIn. Do go and look for her. And then let's build this community of ours for the better. Thank you, Gugu. And I'll see you then very soon.
Cheers.
Cheers. Obviously, we're also going to reveal the name very shortly of the segment. It won't be called New Segment by Gugu, so it will have a proper name. But I wanted to get it out there that she's joined and that we've got some new stuff to look forward to. Righty then, next up, just a couple of quick announcements because now I'm behind time. First up, obviously, is the Propulsion Summit. If you haven't got your ticket yet, why not? I will send a little short video clip a little bit later via WhatsApp. But really go and get your ticket today. It's 595 Rand a ticket. It takes place on the 22nd of August. And it's about the 6 top trends and most impactful trends that you need to learn about and know about and consider how you bring that into your practice to ensure that you are doing extremely well beyond 2023. So do join us for that. We've got incredible speakers, incredible panelists, and on Monday we will be announcing our closing keynote speaker, who I said last week is a phenomenal person. It is somebody who is an entrepreneur who's built multi-million-dollar businesses in the UK, Singapore, and in Australia. So definitely somebody that you don't want to miss. 30 minutes of just jam-packed gold and a lot of things that we can incorporate. There's this big drive for us to go and move from financial advice or financial advisor and financial planner into business owner. And that session particularly is going to help quite a bit with that. There's also some other interesting conversations. There's also choose your own adventure. There's also some powerful insight sessions that's going to happen. That is just short, punchy little talks. So do join us for that. It is going to be phenomenal. So do check it out. The link is down below in the description. So please go and check it out. And then on that note, we've now done 2 of these WhatsApp marketing masterclasses. First off for the Propulsion community, our paid community, and it went down phenomenally well. And then yesterday, we also presented this to the Profile Me users, because obviously this is brought to everybody by Profile Me and Propulsion. So next up is the one that we will open up. We are going to charge a fee for that one. These first 2 we obviously do. It's included in the Propulsion membership, as well as if you're a Profile Me user, it's a value-added benefit. But we are going to launch this now, and it will happen in August. So really looking forward to that. So if you haven't joined the waitlist, the link is down below. Please join the waitlist. The waitlist has grown tremendously this last week. So there's going to be limited spaces because of the way that we do this. And so it's not going to be because it's online and we can have 500 people on a webinar that's going to be the case. There's only going to be a very limited number of seats. And we've got like almost 10 times the number of people on the waitlist at this point. So do go and join that if you want to know as soon as those tickets go live. Then I have to mention this. I've mentioned this last week as well, but we had Tiaan Herselman talk on module 2 of the cash flow modeling winter camp that we're doing for Propulsion members. And it was a phenomenal conversation. The feedback has just been mind-blowing. And I'm really excited for the next module. So this week we were speaking about like everything around how to practically use cash flow modeling with the client and get, help them to make real-time decisions by showing them real-time information. So it was really an incredible conversation. And the way that Tiaan positioned all of that was just very practical and amazing. So next week we're going to delve into decumulation. So what happens if somebody then goes into a decumulation phase, and Tiaan will be back to then talk about that. So if you're not a Propulsion member, go check it out. The link is also down below. All the links are always down below, propulsion.co.za. You can see exactly what it's about, what the existing members are saying, and all of the amazing benefits that you are getting. Then lastly, if you want to be in the, now I've got to open this again. If you want to be in the giveaway, then do please comment #guide. Even if you commented already, please do comment again. I noticed that there was a couple of quite a number of those that didn't come in, so I don't know why, but if you can comment #guide. I see everybody is spelling it correctly, so it's not that, but if you haven't, please just comment #guide. And if you have already, just comment it again so we make sure that you are in the draw. All right, ladies and gents, if you are getting loads of value from this, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Share this video with other people. Let them know about the show. And we really value this. We're on 1,316 subscribers. So thank you very much. We really want to grow that so that we can reach more people and have more guests on the show. All right, with that, let's get into today's topic. All right, so if we start talking about fees, some people cringe, some people they get very excited. Some people believe that fees are the only way to go. Other people say clients will never be able to pay those fees, and therefore commission will be the way to go. So obviously every country in the world is also different and regions are different. So I'm going to sort of share with you some of the insights that I gained from all the research and everything that I read. And what prompted this conversation was really, well, one, I reflected back on everything we've done up until this point. And remember, this season is all about freedom. So we've done a lot of stuff and we've interviewed quite a few people. And then for some reason, this topic sort of came up. And also the second reason why I'm talking about this today is because of all of the sharing of a couple of certain research and reports and things that were published, where there was a lot being said about younger clients who's looking for coaching and mentoring or guidance, but nobody ever talks about whether they are willing to pay or not. So that was quite an interesting sort of thought for me to say, well, it's great to see this is what we want, but one, will you pay for it? And secondly, how are you going to pay for it? So I've sort of looked at all of that, and I want to share some of the things that I have learned from that, and then obviously sprinkling my own thoughts on that. But please participate in the chat. Please share with me what you are thinking, your experience. Whether you agree or not, it's not the point. It is about sharing your thoughts and opinions on this so that we can have a proper conversation around this. Now, if you think about the evolution of fees, I mean, obviously, this entire industry started commission-based. And the reason for that is that most people, when they started, they worked for the product houses. So they were distribution and they were selling. And today, we have loads of independents. We've got big firms, small firms. We still have Tide. So that hasn't changed. But commission was sort of the only way that you could ever earn a living, and you could earn a good living from that. But that's where we started. And the thing with commission was that back in the day, it was very much product focused, and obviously then which could also lead to a conflict of interest, which I'll get into a little bit in a second. But Then we sort of evolved to this whole AUM model. Also, that I think when people say we are fee-based, that's sort of, we're actually talking about AUM. But there it was more about like, if your investments perform well, then I do well. If it doesn't do well, then I don't do well. So there was a little bit of a more alignment, but there's actually a hell of a disconnect between AUM and what you do for clients. There's no direct correlation. It's like when people ask me, how much money does YouTube pay you? Not a cent, right? But it does wonders for my business. So there's no direct link. I can't say we did this and then this happened, but I can tell you that my business still exists today because of this channel. However, I make no money directly off of this. So that's the important part. So it's exactly the same for us in the advice thing. And then sort of in the late 1990s, early 2000s, this thing about fee-only sort of services started to creep up. And it's something that has really gained in popularity across the world, not just here in South Africa. I mean, I thought like there were maybe 3 people charging fees, but there's a lot of people in South Africa charging fees. And some of them are absolutely fee only. I had a phenomenal conversation with somebody 2 weeks ago. That's all he does is he does that. He takes no ongoing fees. There's no assets under management, no nothing, just fees. And he's very clear on who he works with, etc. Now, I often go back to in 2012. When was it? That was 2013, 2014, round about there, when some of the compliance houses were running all of these practice management sessions because of RDR and how you should change and how can you work out your fees and all of those good things. And I can fondly remember all these people sitting around the table going like, yeah, clients can't afford this. They're not going to pay. This is never going to work. And I think that's the mentality that we go into with many things, is because probably you won't pay for what it is you do, because we've done this for so long. We absolutely believe that clients also won't pay. And the trick here is to go into anything like this with an open mind and to say, well, let me at least explore. It's like very, very interesting. Like Nikki was talking about crypto earlier. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday around crypto. And regardless of my view of crypto or your view of crypto, the question is, should we be educating ourselves on that so that we can have a more informed opinion about it? And the answer is absolutely yes. Doesn't mean that you're going to convert from saying no to crypto and it's from the devil to going like, oh, it's the only thing that exists. But it's absolutely about being open-minded, about being open to learning so that we can make better decisions and so that we can help clients better and build a better business at the end of the day. So that's sort of what happened. So we went commission, AUM, and then onto sort of fee only. And not everybody has done that. But if you look at the stats globally, 50% of advisors are charging fees at this point in time. So it's really, really incredible to see how that has grown. Now, locally, unfortunately, I know back in 2012, 2013, round about there, it was only about 12% of advisors. I have no newer stats than that, but it was a very small percentage. But I can almost guarantee you, because I work with a lot of advisors who are charging fees as well, but very few of them are fee only. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. The other thing that's really creeping up now is this thing like subscriptions and retainers. And I want to get into that in a little second. But the big thing, if you think where things are going, if you look at the regulation, you look at all of this, what is happening right this second is that there is a move to greater and greater and greater transparency, as well as there is a strong move towards being more aligned with your client's interest instead of maybe that of the business or even ourselves. So that is definitely not changing. And you'll see that I'm going to talk a lot about regulation today as well. But that is sort of forcing us in that direction in any event, because that is what is required. So it is important to understand all of this. Why do you need to care, and why do you need to be open-minded? Well, one is that this speaks directly to client trust, and also obviously to transparency. So that's why it's important. Also, as regulations change, we're about to go with COFI and become a lot more principle and outcomes based. So, complying with regulation and being able to prove that you are client-centric and that you're treating customers the right way. Then also aligning, making sure that we can align the client's interest and yours. If there's one thing that is important in any business relationship, is that all parties needs to benefit. It needs to be a win-win. So it's got to be that the business wins. It's got to be that the client wins. And then if there's an individual advisor, maybe who works in the business, that they win as well. So everybody needs to win in that equation. So it's very important that we align all interests and not put anybody's interest necessarily. If anybody's interest needs to be put before somebody else's, it's the client's. Definitely. Remember that thing that I always say about, doing the right thing for the right reason with the right intent. That's what you need to do. And then I think it speaks directly to that. It can be a competitive advantage, but the one thing that you can't do, because the competitive advantage doesn't come from the fact that you charge fees. The competitive advantage probably comes from the fact that you are removing a conflict of interest completely by doing that. And even sometimes I think people are not really doing it or they're not implementing this in the best way. So they are not really moving away from that conflict of interest, or not as much as they could, or even eliminating it. But it could be some form of a competitive advantage. I do believe very strongly that you shouldn't make the fact that you only charge fees, that's your value proposition, because it's not. It's simply how you get paid. And the fact that as a standalone thing is removing conflict of interest. And obviously, if you sort of think about these things, you get ready for the future. I remember way back in the day when all of these changes came, where they started removing the upfront commissions and things from investment products. People were saying like, yeah, it's not law yet. Until it's law, I will keep writing and taking my commission until the very last day. Then it's sort of too late, because your income will go from there to there overnight. So we've got to be future ready and think about this. Right, so let me just very briefly delve into the commissions and the AUM and sort of how we've evolved over time. So first off, if you want to earn a commission, you got to sell a product, right? It works like that in any sales business or any sales game. So that is the big one. It's a very straightforward model. If you think about it, it's actually easier for clients to understand in some way, shape, or form. And there are some things that I'll share now where it's not the case. But overall, it's very simple. Look, you don't have to pay me anything. I'm earning a commission if you do this. So that's why I can do a lot of stuff for you. But basically, if you think from a business point of view, the more you sell, the more you can earn. It's a very, very simple model. It also means that if you knew that you can get started much easier from that point of view. The biggest thing here is the conflict of interest, obviously, with commissions. And why do I say that? It is because of a couple of things. The one thing is that there is no direct link between the earnings that you make and the advice that you gave, or even the earnings that you get from commissions versus the services that you rendered. So it can be completely skewed. Sometimes the commission is not enough. Other times the commission is way too much. It's just a factor of the sale, obviously. And also what might happen is that people may recommend one product over another due to that higher commissions paid. So just think about having to advise somebody on a life retirement annuity versus a unit trust retirement annuity. Sometimes when the end of the month is looming and there's a couple of bucks short, do you sell them the life RA or do you sell them the thing? And it becomes a thing of, sort of, I don't know, can you really look at somebody and say, you didn't do the right thing because my belief is you should do Y and you did X, for example. But be that as it may, that is one of the issues with commissions. And regulation is putting a lot of pressure on this. Just by the way, they're removing commissions from a lot of these products, specifically investment products. They are removing a lot of those commissions and upfronts and things like that. So that is something that's already happened. We're already down that line. So that's the thing with commissions. Now, the big benefit of commissions is that it does make sure that more people have access to the advice that you can give them, because they don't have to pay for this, and maybe they don't have the ability to pay for it. And that's always sort of the debate around this, right? So I need to focus on that, or I need to do commission because otherwise these people can't be helped. But still, the conflicts of interest is an issue. Also, it might mean that there's a lack of comprehensive or holistic advice, because I only focus, maybe it's a little bit more transactional than some of the other models. So it is easy to understand, but there is definitely a hidden cost because like everything is embedded in the products and people just, okay, I pay 500 Rand a month for a life policy. You got 5,000 Rand commission, everybody's happy, but there is an additional cost there. And sometimes as high as 20% of that premium goes towards that. And if you pay that for the next 20 years, you're paying a lot more than the 5,000 that the commission was. But anyway, so it is just important from that point of view. Fee-based models, on the other hand, I think one of the more difficult things is to transition from commission into fees. But obviously the regulators are definitely sort of encouraging this to say, well, you know what, it's maybe a good thing to move that way, because then it's more transparent, it's clear. In fact, I think there's more accountability when somebody paid you a fee. And one of the things that I've seen from clients before is that, because the investment statements, for example, has become more and more transparent, instead of saying like you're getting 0.5% ongoing, they can see the rand amount on their statement, and they start questioning around, what am I paying for? Where did this money go? Why am I paying this to this product house? Or why am I paying this to you? And what did I get for this? So there's a pro and a con there. There's more transparency, which means clients are more aware. But then on the other hand as well, it does make sure that we focus on that long-term relationship and delivering the services. And there's a little bit more of an alignment. Although this whole thing around if you use assets under management to earn those fees and that the product house pays that to us, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But there's still, although there's a better alignment of interest, it's not 100%, because I have no control over the performance of an investment. And if that is what I link my value to, then that is a massive problem. We can't link our value to the investment performance I'm giving you. It's just, that's not what we do. We are not investment managers. We are not asset managers. So it's very important to just sort of think about that as well. I think the other benefit from being fee-based, in other words, sort of maybe taking a percentage of assets under management, for example, is that your revenue will be more predictable. It will probably be a little bit more stable. And obviously it's recurring revenue. So it does make that over time we can offer other services and other value-added things to clients because of that. So that is a big thing, and which will obviously then lead to more comprehensive advice. The challenge with this is that initially, if you're going to go from commission straight on to fees, there's a massive drop early on in your revenue, and you've got to build this up. And even if you're new and you want to start building assets under management, you're still dealing with experience and knowledge issues, and just the time it takes to accumulate those assets over time. So it's very hard to get going if you don't start off in a commission space, or you can't earn a salary for a year or two, for example. Also, clients might be resistant to that. And this is probably one of the things, like, we're so good with showing what are the objections, but clients are maybe saying, I'm not going to do this. I've never paid you. Why should I pay you now? So we don't want to have those conversations, do we? And then I think the other thing that I see people struggling with quite a lot is determining the right pricing structure and level of pricing as well. So those are definitely the things that people are struggling with. Now, if we start thinking about what does the future trends in fees look like, and this is something that I'm seeing and hearing more and more and more, and it is quite interesting, and it is actually a solution that could work. I think there's more and more models that people are coming up with, and also a combination of these models. So they're combining commission and fee-based and fee-only options for different clients. And if you think that we're going into a world of hyper-personalization, we're already there, something we're going to talk about at the summit, hyper-personalization, then probably it's not only how we dispense and what we do for clients and how we communicate with them, it's also like, how do we charge them then if it's hyper-personalized? So I think there's going to be more and more of those weird and wonderful structures, but luckily we'll have technology to help us figure all of that out. But it is important. I think clients are going to demand more and more transparency, even though we've come a long way in terms of that. And they will also then say, but, if I'm getting this, I just want to pay for this. This one fee for all of this stuff might become a problem for some. So something that one would need to consider. If I think about the role of technology, I always talk about technology. So technology can make it easier for us to implement the more complex fee structures if we tend to go with that. Look, sort of invoicing and getting the money is not the issue, because it's one invoice. It's just determining the price, which is really sometimes complex. But software can help you calculate the fees very simply, and you can use a range of factors. Let's just imagine that you use, I'm just going out there, right? So I'm not saying that this is what we should do or this is what's going to work, but we can be talking about, like, maybe what is the client's risk profile? How complex is their financial situation? How much work is involved? So there's a combination of factors and things that we will take into account. Plus, how much are we looking to earn in a year from what it is that we do. And we combine all of those, and it can be very different for different people. And then what happens, I think the other thing, if we think about, if commissions were to be banned completely, a lot of people say, oh, they will never do that because that'll just kill us all. But nothing's to say that can't happen. So the thing is that, are we putting ourselves in a position where we're building a sustainable and a better business with fees included? And we have a combination of things, specifically in South Africa. I believe that a combination and options are very important, right? And I'll share a thing in a second. But it is very important that you might be forced anyway to go the fees route, even if you don't. So I would rather start looking and experimenting with it earlier. And it's always easier to do this with new clients than it is to do with your existing. Forget about your existing clients, but start testing this with new. I know of many advisors who do charge fees for many different things with their clients. So it's not only, so there's the new business side, the implementation side, there's advice, there's ongoing service, and then there's things that maybe you do for clients that have got nothing to do with the products that they have with you. So how do we charge for those? Because typically we didn't. We just gave it away for free, but yet it's costing us quite a lot of money. So what are some of the emerging models that we are seeing? Because I guess you are very keen to sort of hear about that. I think one of the biggest ones are subscription fees or retainer fees. Now, there's a difference between these two, and it's a subtle difference. But a retainer is almost like a deposit. Like I'm going to pay you, and then I can use whatever I want to use, and that's included. Versus a subscription fee, which is also ongoing, a monthly or an annual fee, a subscription fee, but it's for a set, defined set of services that's included for that. And you can have different levels. So think about something like Netflix, for example, where you can have different levels, so only one person can access, or you can watch on multiple devices, etc., etc. That influences, and whether you want SD or HD, it changes the subscription amount per month. So exactly the same here. Now, where those two are going to be very, very valuable is exactly for those clients that you were never, ever able to really help maybe before, because maybe they don't yet have the assets for you to invest, to earn assets under management, a fee on that makes sense and that's profitable. They have the ability to pay for those because they have the cash flow. Younger people are earning a lot better than in my day when I started working. So a lot of people are talking about, instead of taking a percentage of assets, they take a percentage of income, which might work. So think about, somebody earning 30,000 Rand. If you take 2% of that, that's 600 Rand a month, for example. If I'm not sort of just quickly, I might be a little bit off, but anyway, somewhere in that region. So subscription fees are definitely something to say, look, this is what you can have. On the other hand, you can have a retainer, and you've got a certain amount of access to me, which you can use for whatever it is that you want. So you've got those choice. The other big one I would think that has really taken hold and that I used in my practice was flat fees. So you could do flat fees where you just charge like it's almost a menu of services with a fixed price, and you can do that. You can also do project fees, which are more custom for every client. So you look at the complexity, the time, and you estimate what that would cost, but the fee is fixed regardless of how long it takes you in the end. And then, of course, the one which I rarely ever use anymore, it is only when there's no other way to charge than an hourly fee. But those are the ones. So subscription fees, retainers, flat fees, project fees, and hourly fees are sort of the main ones to think about. But at the end of the day, we need to offer it in a combination of things. So, if you, again, I always use my example of a laptop. Imagine that, there wasn't something like credit or loans or budget on your credit card or financing or anything like that. Then, people won't be able to go buy a laptop that they actually need to go and earn an income with. Now, we can make the argument that maybe then they would have bought it cash, which is always better. Yes, it is. But at the end of the day, clients need to have choice. If I need advice now, but I can't afford it now, then surely I'll be happy to pay a commission. If I am really saying like, look, I don't like that, I don't want anything, all I want you to do is look at this, but I'm willing to pay for your service, they must be able to do that. And how are you thinking about this and incorporating this into your practice? Right, so at the end of the day, if I think about the future of the profession and the advice, sort of where we are going, it's got to become even a lot more client-centric than what it is at the moment. People are doing a fantastic job in that regard, but I think we still got a way to go with that. We've got to make sure that there's transparency and accountability, from all sides, from us to the client, from the client to us, and even to ourselves. So that's very important. And then obviously there's going to be loads more regulatory changes. And I've recently done, in this week actually, did a session on integrating compliance into your advice process. And one of the things that I spoke about there was how important it is that, we start positioning compliance as a benefit. And the whole purpose behind compliance, in my view, is to help you incorporate best practice in your business and be able to build a sustainable long-term business. So that's important. And then obviously technology is going to forever play a role in this. In fact, I was listening to something in the week where the guy was saying, without technology, we won't be able to make it at all. And technology can take many different shapes. It's not only computers and software. There's many other things that can help us. So really quite a few things to take note of. And I'm excited to see where all of this is going. I'm going to talk a little bit more in future about the actual models, deep delving into how they work, how they come together, and all of that. So that's my view on fees. Alrighty, so with that, I need to be at a session that I'm presenting in 2 minutes' time. So I am going to do the lucky draw very quickly, and let's see what we've got. So 23 entries. I'm going to do the lucky draw. Let me get the book. So it's for the Ultimate Guide to Retirement in South Africa by Bruce Cameron and Wouter Fourie. So let's see who it is going to be today. And I need to... There you go, Renee. Good morning. Thank you very much. Where's the applause? There we go. So well done, Renee. I will be in touch to get your detail, and we'll send off the book to you. Liana, your book is also on its way. And then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being here this morning. Thank you for your patience when we had some issues. And a happy birthday to Norma. And I want to wish you a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, be blessed and prosper, and continue to raise the bar. Love you. Bye-bye.